out YouTube, please do so. I think you're going to find we look amazing. I know I'm a little biased, but I have to tell you that if you go to YouTube and check us out in all its high resolution glory, it's pretty amazing what we've done. And it's just not me putting this together or Cailley as the president or Sean as a chat host. It is all of us. Every one of us that gets on camera is partaking and participating in creating this show. And that's what makes it so great to me is that if you go back to some of our previous episodes, we've had some really compelling speeches. We've had some really good table topics. And so every week that I come, as I said, I feel a little more inspired and uplifted. And for this week, it's been a hell of a week for me. I'll talk all about it in table topics, but I'm full of regret. And so I'm trying to work my way past the regret by coming here and speaking to you all. So looking forward to that. With that said, let's get into our show. We've got two speakers tonight. The first speaker is Devika, and Devika is a longtime member. Let's see if we can't get Devika on screen for us, if she's there. And Devika is going to be giving her fourth speech tonight. And the fourth speech in our curriculum, for those of you who are Toastmasters, you know that we are following the Competent Communicator Manual. And our fourth speech is how you say it. So Devika, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Henry, I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. And so as you know, you're a Toastmaster in a couple different clubs, so you know what the drill is. But for those of you who are kind of new or maybe members that haven't been here for a while, speech number 4, how you say it. This is the transition from what we say to all the nonverbal cues that go into speaking. This is really also the transition point from trying to prepare a speech to a speech that is something that comes naturally and more impromptu. That's why we do table topics. We do table topics because we try to give people an opportunity to speak off the cuff. And in doing so, we reveal kind of the hidden parts of us that we hide behind the words. And so how you say it begins to reveal all those hidden cues that we don't really pay attention to if we're not listening to the words that are said. So for tonight, we're going to be listening to you talk about your speech. And we as an audience are going to get a chance to evaluate you. So we as an audience will be looking for more nonverbal cues than anything else. And we'll be able to give that as our primary feedback to you in our evaluation forms. So you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
All right, Devika, you got, as usual, 4 minutes on the clock. We'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Henry. Words make it business. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. It is only apt that today I bring to you the power of words as my fourth project in Toastmasters CC manual with the objective how to say it. In a typical business environment, we are bombarded with words all day, every day. Emails, brochures, reports, letters, advertisements, PowerPoint presentations, and much, much more. You can't afford to let your business communications get lost in the crowd. Not if you want to inspire your customers to buy, encourage your employees to work harder, or simply invite associates to a business luncheon. Here are 5 easy ways to make your words stand out from the pack. Number 1, know your audience. It's an old saying in the advertising business. A message aimed at everyone often appeals to no one. To communicate effectively, you have to know your readers. Are they familiar with your subject? Are they likely to resist your message? Are they old? Are they young? Are they urban? Are they rural? Are they highly educated or not? Knowing your readers makes it easier for you to answer everyone's most pressing question: what's in it for me? Picture the typical reader in your mind. Is she an 18-year-old university student or a 60-year-old executive? Number 2, know your message. Before typing a word, decide what you're trying to achieve. Do you simply want to share information? Do you need to explain a difficult concept? Or do you want to inspire your readers to act? Most importantly, what is your key message? Try to boil your message down to an slogan. For instance, this product can save your business thousands of dollars a year. Number four, Number three, sorry, think like a reporter. When you're closely involved with a topic, it's easy to overlook the obvious. For example, it's astonishing how many websites for hotels and restaurants don't include one vital piece of information: the address. Make sure your document includes the answers to 5 W's and 1 H: who, what, where, when, and how. Number four, banish cliches. Cliches are expressions that come out of nowhere and suddenly seem to be everywhere, to the point that they become almost meaningless. What business is not service oriented? And if a company is not solutions focused, then what is it focused on? How many times have you read about low hanging fruit, win win solutions, or pushing the envelope? Do they inspire you or make you yawn? When you detect a cliche, try to come up with a fresher metaphor for the same idea. Instead of thinking outside the box, how about breaking away from the herd? But don't work too hard to be clever. Often, simply saying what you mean, thinking in innovative ways, is best. And lastly, number five, keep it tight. Short sentences, short paragraphs, and short documents have a better chance of capturing readers' attention. That's particularly true of emails and other electronic documents because we read more slowly on screen than on paper. Delete redundant adjectives. All friends are personal. All innovations are new. And all disasters are serious. Hence, I believe it is this power of words which, when used correctly, in places where intellect meets difference in opinion, encourage sharing, form meaningful dialogues, have profound effects in terms of how people articulate to share thoughts and inspire ideas and opinions with one another. Thank you, and may the resilient power of words be with you. Thank you, Henry.
Devika, that was fantastic. Great job on that speech. I got to tell you, it was very polished and very professional. So, from a how you say it standpoint from me, spot on. Great job. All right. So, with that being said, let's get you some audience evaluation. Sean, would you mind in the chat putting the link in for folks to fill out the evaluation form for Devika? And Devika, you'll get your self evaluation form to fill out as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Devika, your favorite song is from the Backstreet Boys. Is that right?
Yeah, that's always my favorite, larger than life. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to listen to Devika's favorite song as we do her evaluation. 2 minutes on the clock, and then we'll see you back for the formal evaluation. All right, welcome back, everyone. Gotta love the Backstreet Boys. With that said, we have Alex who's going to do our evaluation of Devika. And what we decided to do is to also then switch around. Alex is going to give the second speech, to which Devika is going to do her evaluation of him. So for tonight, we've got Alex who's going to do an evaluation. Let's see if we can find Alex and get him on screen for us. Alex, are you there? Do you have us on?
I believe I'm here. It's up
Yeah,
to
I
you to
think we're
find
trying
me.
to find you in the control room. So,
Uh-oh.
Alex, you are a longtime member as well. Um, you
A
know,
proud member. A proud member.
well, proud to have you as a member.
Thank you.
Um, We have you here as the evaluator for Devika. You're an old hand at this. You've been to many, many Toastmasters clubs. You're very professional with this already. So there's not much else that I can say other than you've got 2 minutes on the clock for your evaluation. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Henry. The operative word, of course, is old. Yes, I am an old fan. However, it's not about me, it's about Devika. And Devika, wow, I'd like to welcome you and welcome all of the Toastmasters, the friends, the guests, everybody here. I'm going to try to give you an evaluation using a method that our friend here, Todd Getien, has conceived, and it's called SAUCE, which stands for Specific Appreciation, Understanding, Coaching, and Evaluation. I like that because it essentially brings everything together. It focuses on what we can learn and the value that we can derive from your speech. And you've given us a great, valuable speech. First of all, specificity. Well, you were specific. You said that you had a specific goal, and I believe that you reached the goal. I'm interested in your choice of title. I would have perhaps suggested the title, Keep It Tight, because that's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you did. And that perhaps might be an even tighter title. Well, appreciation. I believe that all of us here appreciated and learned a great deal from you. And I want to thank you for that. I think that that really was spectacular. Understanding. Well, you showed a splendid understanding of your subject matter. You went through all of the points and you went through them very clearly. Very valuable. Coaching, well, I'm going to have to confer with my friend Todd on what coaching is exactly, but evaluation, the value. You've given us great value. And the value is what you've brought to us, how we've seen you've given this speech, and how we're going to go forward, taking this value that you've given us. I want to thank you so much for that. Back to you, Henry. Great resilience.
Alex, great job on that evaluation. And nice use of the word of the day at the very last minute. Appreciate that. So for those of you who are new again, we appreciate you coming. For those of you who are members, we are in a place where we're about to embark on our new curriculum for the new year. So I'd like to also remind everyone to make sure they sign up for speeches and roles going forward. I know that everybody's got a lot going on right now. So if you wouldn't mind signing up for roles and speeches down the road, that really helps us out. So I appreciate you, Alex, in the last minute filling in that role as an evaluator. Okay, so we'll take that minute now and get ourselves reset, and we'll come back with Alex's speech, his also fourth speech, how you say it. So give us a chance to reset, and we'll see you in a second. So our second speaker tonight, as I said, is Alex. Alex, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
As I said before, you're an old hand at this, so you know the drill. 4 minutes on the clock for your how to say it speech. And one more time, we're looking for those nonverbal cues as an audience to give you feedback on. All right, take it away.
Thank you, Henry. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Friends, Toastmasters, guests, how you say it is so important. This poem of Robert Frost, I haven't counted the number of words. I guess it might be 3 sentences, but it encapsulates so much. How did Robert Frost say this? He said it succinctly, he said it visually, and he said it powerfully. And that's how you say it. That's how that's a good way of saying things. And why I'm bringing this up to you is because how you say it is very important for me. I love poetry, but when you can boil things down to the essentials, here, an essential poem, you have the most powerful, you have the best imagery, you have striking images, you have power, you have dynamism. And in my view, that is the way also to deliver a speech. Powerfully, succinctly, dynamically. You don't need to get all into all kinds of great big words. I love great big words. I know a few, but what does it profit me? And what does it profit the people? Because when we give a speech, it's not about us. It's about you. It's about the audience. The audience deserves your attention. The audience deserves your respect. The audience deserves simplicity. Not stupidity, simplicity. One of the greatest orators of all time was Sir Winston Churchill. And he talked about the power of words. He talked about how short words are better. Old short words are even better than that. So I like that. But I look at the other types of orators. Dr. Martin Luther King, for instance, the power of oratory, the power of expression. How you say it is so vitally important. I'd like to study with you or riff with you a little bit. I haven't really written down a speech because I wanted to speak to you from my heart. I wanted to speak to you from something deeper than, let's say, an emotion, or something deeper than, let's say, a written page. I want to speak to you from where my mind is, but also where my heart is, where the meanings are. You've heard me speak about this before, about the whole notion of nonviolent communication. And I'm finding that that's also a great way to get to how you say it. If you can go deeper, past the emotion, past the Dr. Seuss kind of emotions, mad, sad, glad, bad, right? Get into the crux of it all. Then you can really say it very powerfully. I don't have much more to say on the topic. Actually, I do, but it's sometimes more difficult to have a shorter speech than it is to have a longer speech. So therefore, I'll give it back to you. Thank you.
As usual. And yeah, I really appreciate you speaking from the heart. You know, as we talk about, we're in a curriculum here. What we're trying to do is get better at this skill. But this skill for me is more an art form than anything else. And there's the risk we always take of getting lost in all the things we're being told to do versus just actually doing them. And so we are always open to people preparing and writing their speeches. It's always going to be an important part of what we say. But the how you say it is really about speaking from the heart. And again, not speaking from notes, not speaking from a rehearsed place, which is back to the table topics. So I appreciate that, Alex. It was a phenomenal speech, but we'll let the audience give you some evaluation feedback. I'm not sure we have your music. You're a last minute addition, so I'm not sure who's going to come up on the music if we'll have anything. But we've got 2 minutes on the clock for everyone to do the evaluation. Sean, would you mind putting the link in the chat one more time for people to give their evaluation form? And Alex, you've got your self-evaluation form.
Thanks. I'll take the Backstreet Boys, Henry, if you.
I'm not sure what we have, so we're going to get surprised together.
No worries. Thanks.
All right, welcome back, everyone. As we said, we have Devika who's going to do the flip flop and do the evaluation for Alex. And let me take a moment just to say also, this is also the reason why I'm never worried about trolls or the negative comments or the criticisms, because every one of us knows that while at one time we're going to be a speaker, we're also going to be an evaluator. And so as an evaluator, you know that you have to be encouraging. You have to be someone that wants to inspire the person to come back again, because you're going to get evaluated yourself. And so the beauty of what we do here is that everyone has to share in this fear, and everyone understands how difficult this is to do. So with that said, let's get Devika back on the screen so that she can do the flip flop. And as I said, give Alex his feedback. So welcome back, Devika.
Thanks, Henry. Thanks again.
You know the drill as well. 2 minutes for your evaluation for Alex. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Hey, Alex. So, of course, your project number was project 4 in the CC manual, how you say it. Alex, I think I speak for everyone when I say that how you say it, your expressions, your gestures, and whenever you say anything, not just the speech, you say any word, you actually say it with your heart. So when you were saying, when you were, speaking your speech, uh, I could just, think about you as an artist of words, of expressions, gestures, and you feel so much when you say it, and so much so that we actually feel it. So, that's perfection, in speaking. I feel that you personified the objective of the speech, which is how you say it. You use a lot of phrases, which is always great. You quoted wonderful lines in the beginning about fire and ice from Robert Frost, and also Winston Churchill towards the middle. Um, one thing that I could, the takeaway from your speech, so to say, was that we should get into the crux of it, in by being short and simple, always to the point, and being precise in your message, always clear. So that's of course always there. That's something that I need to learn a lot, because I also sometimes blabber, and I sometimes just don't really come to the point, which I should. And one, it's not a feedback, a constructive feedback or anything, but I just want to say that, uh, maybe if if there was because we like listening to you so much, that maybe there was, if there was some story that you could have attached, or something that you experienced that you could share. It's just because we want to keep listening to you, so why not. And yeah, great job, thank you so much.
Great job on that evaluation. Yes, and I absolutely agree.
Thank you.
Love listening to Alex and you both, Devika. So great job on the speeches and the evaluations. So with that being said, we're going to do our reset one more time and then get to table topics. I don't know how many people we've got signed up, but this is your chance to get onto the table topics list. 2-minute speeches for those guests. Again, you are more than welcome to sign up. And as I said, the question of table topics is about success and regret. So let us get reset and we'll get into table topics. Up on the back end here, we'll get started with our table topics. And I'm doing double duty here. So as I said, um, the best part about where we're at right now is the fact that Cailley is in full control of all the scene switches and the digital stage. So I get to now be another member of the club that gets to do table topics and the roles and all those things. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. And as I said, I had a really tough week. I don't know if anybody ever uses Airbnb, the vacation rental company, but I had a chance to get into the IPO that was issued just this past Thursday. And I don't know if anybody's been following Airbnb, but it's a very successful company. And in the IPO, it immediately doubled and it's continued to go up. So I had this chance to get into the IPO, and I missed the deadline by 2 minutes. I had misread the calendar and I put in the wrong time to submit my purchases. So by the time I realized my mistake, I hopped on the computer and I missed the deadline by literally 2 minutes. So I was locked out of the IPO. And so that was not a fun moment for me. I also had a very close friend of mine. You may have heard his name before, Tony Hsieh. He was the founder, CEO of Zappos. He passed away last week as well. And so I've been going through some difficult times. Um, I'm filled with a lot of regret over some decisions I made, things I oversaw and overlooked. And so I thought what I would do is to use this as my therapy and use that as table topics. And so what I decided to do though was, instead of just being regret, I'd also focus on what I thought was the opposite of regret. So this was an interesting thing for me. There is no opposite for regret. Success was as close as I could come, but the opposite of success is failure. And so what the synonym for regret really is regrets for our failures. And I think the Zen message that I've always tried to adhere to is that we're never fully responsible for either our regrets or our successes. And so that's the question for the night. Is I'd like to hear about your regret or success, but I also want to know what are the things that you blame yourself or keep yourself responsible for, and the things that you were not responsible for, and the things that you regret or the successes that you've had. I think that's the way, from the Zen perspective, I've always viewed these regrets and successes, that yes, we're absolutely responsible for the things we do, we're responsible for the failures and the successes, but there are equally things out there that contributed to why we failed or why we succeeded. And for me, I missed that deadline, but it wasn't really my fault because it was a computer glitch. If I really think hard about what happened, is that I had the wrong calendar with the wrong time in the wrong time zone. I can't really blame myself for that. So from that perspective, I wasn't really responsible. So that's the balance I'm trying to find in this regret that I have for missing the Airbnb IPO. And I wish there were some things I could have done with Tony Hsieh, but as I said, Tony was on his own journey, and I'm not responsible and can't hold myself responsible for not being there. With that said, let me get into hearing your regrets and your successes. I think we've got the table topic signed up, pretty much filled up. Got one more slot for anybody that's interested, but we'll start off the evening with Jorge. If we can get Jorge on the screen for us to do his table topic.
Jorge maybe had to leave, Henry, so we'll go to...
Okay. Then we've got Rajiv, right? Is Rajiv there?
Yep.
A long time, well-respected, highly esteemed member, Rajiv. Can you hear us, Rajiv? Did we lose Rajiv too?
No, I'm here. What's the question?
Rajiv, the question is, tell us about a regret or success, and tell us why you were both responsible for that regret or success and not responsible for that regret or success.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all on a Friday evening. So Friday to everyone. The question is, talk about a regret or success. I'm the eternal optimist, so I will talk about a success. The recent success, I've had plenty of them, I'm happy to say. But one of my biggest successes was delivering a speech at the United Nations, talking about the role of coaching and technology to solve homelessness, which was extremely well received by many of the government delegates in attendance, specifically Malawi, who reached out to me immediately after to seek my assistance in helping them solve child homelessness in their country. And that was an extremely tall order for a single person to try and service, which is why I saw that as a sign from the universe to set up my very own nonprofit called Bright Now, which I'm happy to say is 501c3 nonprofit certified with the IRS, as well as Gold Star rated with GuideStar, and several other, and TechSoup and PayPal and all of those places. We currently have 3 projects. One is in Malawi, which is on hold because of the pandemic. Second is in Brazil. It's basically a community center that helps connect children from one part of the world with the children in Brazil. And the idea is to reduce xenophobia. The thinking is that if kids can meet other kids from other countries, they'll realize that they're not that different from each other. And that will help to integrate the world a little bit better. And as they say, get them young. And that's the thinking there. So that is one of my successes, which I'm extremely delighted and humbled to share with you. I hope this message resonated with someone, and I wish you all an amazing rest of the week. Thank you.
Rajiv, you truly are the eternal optimist. And, the funny thing is, good things tend to happen to optimists. So I'm glad to hear things are going great for you. Love to have you here talking about all your successes every week. So thanks for being a member. Love it.
Yep, happy to be here.
With that being said, let's turn to our next table topic speaker. I think we got Jorge back into the meeting. So we're getting Jorge on screen. Jorge, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Harry. Yes, I am back.
How are you?
Doing
Are you
well,
filled?
thank
Are
you.
you filled with regret or filled with success?
I am going to say that everything that has happened to me has made me the man that I am right now. I'm very grateful for that. How's that?
That sounds amazing. All right, so you know the drill. 2 minutes. Tell us about your table topic.
Thank you. Club members, guests, good evening. My name is Jorge, and this question really got me thinking, and I was ready to tell you, not tell you, most likely complain about some things that I've experienced that didn't really bring happiness, if you will, into my life. But then I stopped myself and said, hold on. I'm gonna do different this time. I'm gonna use something that I read on one of those books about being thankful, being grateful for everything that happened, not just blaming for the bad things that happened to you, but also blaming for the good things that those bad experiences brought to your life. To give you an example, my father, I didn't grow up with him, but according to some audiobooks that I listen to, that's probably the reason why I am so protective of my mother, so protective of women. I try to do everything for them. I try to support them. I try to encourage them to accomplish whatever they want, to keep going, go to school, whatever, get a degree, all those things, because I grew up with a single mother and I saw her like firsthand how tough she was, how she gave everything for not only for me, for also for my brothers. And again, I'm not saying that I didn't, have bad experiences, but I want to say that I am grateful for all those things because again, that's what has made me the man I am right now. Thank you. Back to you, Henry.
Oh, that was fantastic. And I think that you kind of epitomize the reason why I asked this question is I think you're right. You know, you could look at your past and having to have to do it on your own without your father as one big regret. But instead, you've chosen to say, no, no, I can choose this. I can choose to make this a success. I can choose to use the pain, the hurt, and the suffering to make it less painful and less hurtful on other people. So I applaud you, Jorge. You're a longtime member as well. We really love you having you here at this club. So thanks for sharing your story. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Let's get on to our next speaker. And I think we've got a guest. Is that correct? And I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce his name correctly. Is it Syed? Do we have Syed there, perhaps? Maybe not. We may have lost Syed as well. If we can't get Syed, we'll try to maybe come back to him. And the next speaker will be not a member quite yet, but somebody we know from way back in our in-person meetings, Dave Drebsky. Dave,
Yes, a
long
former
time
member.
no see. How are you?
Yeah, very good, Henry.
So you know our club from our in-person meetings.
Sure.
What do you think about our live stream meeting?
Well, I'll say this. I visited 372 clubs virtually, and no one does what this club does.
Whoa. You said 372 clubs.
Yes, I started on March 31st, and I'm up to 372 different clubs that I visited. Many I visited more than once. Oh
Holy
yes.
cow. What
Oh yeah.
pandemic? You're sailing through like there's no pandemic. That is amazing.
Yeah,
Congratulations
no,
to you.
thank you. It's a pretty cool accomplishment. I did at least one club in every state, and I've been to at least one club in 71 different countries.
So, what was the most interesting club you've been to out of all the 370 so clubs?
I got to give it up to the Sunday Sundowners in Perth, Australia. It's they meet our time on Sundays from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Yeah, they're great. I've been there.
Yeah,
What
it's
makes
an
them special?
incredible club. They start out with a collaborative storytelling session. Everyone speaks for 15 seconds, kind of like a game of telephone. They have soapbox rants. They have tall tales every week, including 4 speeches, regular speeches. There's a lot going on, man. It's pretty exciting. It's I ended up joining them, so I'm now an international member as well.
That's amazing. That is so cool to hear. Yeah, that's the beauty of this technology is that we can be anywhere now. There's no replacing being in person, but there
No.
are some real benefits to the technology where you can go to Australia for a meeting. Well, welcome back to our club. Hopefully, we're going to get you to come back and be a member with us. But in the meantime, you know the drill. It's 2 minutes for table topics.
Sure.
We'll let you take it away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Henry. I will talk about somewhat of a modest success, I suppose, rather than a regret. I try not to dabble too much on those. Uh, Not long ago, back in October, my club, Manhasset, Washington, held its first virtual contest, Humorous and Evaluation. And we had not done an online contest before, and we had 10 members wishing to participate, 7 in the humorous and 7 in evaluation. So it was a pretty large contest. And the member of ours who wanted to step up and be the contest chair lived in New Zealand, 16 hours ahead of us. And we had a president that was uncooperative and did not wish to hold a 3 hour event, which is what would be required for a contest of this size. So there were all sorts of logistical issues. And we all had to learn to get used to using breakout rooms and have all of the contest roles encapsulated in an online format. It took a lot of practice, but I'm happy to say we got 5 judges from all over the place, area directors, division directors who wanted to step up. One came from Canada. It was an amazing experience, and it was an extremely successful event that was in many ways uh, kind of almost a blueprint for the district. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. Uh, I particularly put in a tremendous amount of elbow grease to make it successful. And it just goes to show, even when if you go into something and at the beginning you don't know what you're doing, everyone comes together, they read up on the procedures, they work collaboratively as a team, they face some adversity, they have some resilience that they have to fight past. But in the end, everything works out and it ends up being a success. So that's my message to all of you. Fight through the resilience. Don't let the naysayers get you down and just keep on keeping on. Thank you very much.
Dave, awesome job on that. And I got to tell you, yeah, I think you're right. We are certainly doing that in pandemic world where we're just going to give it a try and see what happens. But that's also in many ways the power of Toastmasters for us, right? It's people like you who decide you're going to go travel the world and enter 375 strange Zoom meetings is amazing to me. And it is a only a Toastmaster decides they're going to do that. So for me, that's the beauty of what we do is it's a full of a bunch of people who are outgoing, not afraid to go talk to strangers. So welcome back, Dave. We'd love to have you back, and congratulations on traveling the world. Great job.
Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, with that being said, let's get on to our next speaker, and that's going to be Eula. Eula's also another guest, but we know her well. Eula, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Henry. I'm well.
Good to see you as
Let
always.
me apologize before we start about the background noise. It's my neighbor.
That's quite all right. I think we can hear you just fine. So
Okay.
you've got 2 minutes on the clock. Let us know about your regret or your success.
I will think about my regret. As a young woman, our older lady said to me once, always take chances. That way you never have any regrets later in life. Today, I am later in life. I didn't take the chances I should have, and I have regrets. So, Henry, you took part of my speech. As you may recall or may not recall, I worked on Wall Street for 23 years until 13 years ago. So I didn't have to go too far into my large and spirit bank account to find out what to speak about. My bank account and my life saving consists of all the experiences that I've had in life, how it affect me, what did I learn from it, what can I pass on from it. The food for thought that I got, that I have in my bank account, whenever there's an opportunity, whenever there's something you can do, as long as it's not a conflict of interest, take the chance. What do you have to lose? A lot of us hesitate when we should just jump in, and therefore we miss that opportunity. That is my big regret. I should have been sitting today as a billionaire. Not only not only the fact that I worked for Bear Stearns that had that major fiasco in 2008, and I lost more than $500,000 in my retirement fund. Had I taken some of those chances, I would not regret that today. Therefore, the moral of my story is no matter what it is, no matter how large or how small, if there's something you want to do, if there's an opportunity that
I so appreciate you sharing that story with us. And first, you're right. I should be a billionaire too. So we both have the same regret. But having said that, though, the way I'm thinking about it is, it's never too old. We're never too old to fix the things that we want to fix. And so, what I think we're trying to do here is to face those fears that hold us back. So, I appreciate you getting on camera with us and speaking to us and being, more importantly, vulnerable with us. Right? That's the hard part. It's hard to share regrets, especially in public. So, I really appreciate that, Eula. Great job. And who knows? The billions may be there for us yet to come. So, stick around. All right, with that said, we've got up next Todd. I think another visitor of ours. So we get Todd on the screen for us. Todd, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing fine. Much better than I was before. As I said, it's been a tough week, but the power of this place also is that it's a really inspirational place. So every time I'm done with it on Fridays, I'm like, that was the best way to cap off my week. So I'm much better now. So good to see you. You know the topic, regret or success. 2 minutes on the clock. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, guests, friends, and everybody here. Hey, I mean, you have two choices. You can either pity yourself or learn from it. If you look at a regret as a failure, you're missing the point. The point is you should take everything as a learning opportunity to go forward and to improve. I myself have seen the greatest successes by things that I've had to try through and work through to see the result and appreciate the result more than having it handed to me in my successes. I find too many people are now raising their children in an entitlement society where everything has to be protected and covered so that they don't have any problems. I think we're handicapping our youth by doing that. You need to let them suffer a little so that they can appreciate success more. If they always get it handed to them, they will never appreciate it. So, during life, I've obviously had some different challenges, both financially, medically, and I think each one of those challenges has made me have some better, more authentic, personal stories that I can share with a message to others. And that's why I really enjoy, as a successful thing, going into schools and providing the youth leadership program, which I now call the youth communicator program because our club altered it a little bit. And this program has been adopted by 4 or 5 of our high schools around Montreal. And what it does is it allows people who are marginalized or would potentially drop out of school the opportunity to learn that they have a voice, they have a message, and they have something important to say. And what's really cool, I saw somebody go from a 0 to the class valedictorian, and there was an awesome metaphorsis of like the cocooning with the butterfly. And that was one of the greatest things, was to be invited to the valedictorian kind of presentation and getting all those awards, and her giving her speech and saying, you know, I could have never have done this 3 months ago, but thanks to the Toastmaster Club, our Dollard Club that came and gave it, I'm so much more further ahead. So I want to say, you know, failures are not failures. They're a setback for a step up if you look at it the right way, Mr. Table Topic Master.
That was fantastic. And I completely agree. And that's kind of the reason why I chose the word of the day, resilience. I think what we're trying to do is learn how to be resilient to the failures and not see them as regrets that keep us down. And obviously, you're somebody that sees the world that way. It's great to have you as part of our club. I always love listening to listening to you speak as well. So thanks for coming. Appreciate it, and look forward to having you back again. All right, with that said, let's move on to our next speaker. Again, I think we got a guest here. Hopefully, I'm saying this the right way. Bharat, is Bharat here?
Hi, Henry.
Hello. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, you pronounced it correctly. It's
Fantastic.
Bharat. Yeah.
Well, as a guest, we didn't get a chance to see you before in our pre-show. Welcome to the show. How'd you hear about us?
Uh, Devika and Alex had visited our club, the Columbia University Club, and also Rajiv is a member. So I've heard from them.
Ah, fantastic. Yes, we love fellow Toastmasters out there. So welcome to our club. And I'm guessing you know the table topics drill fairly well. You've got 2 minutes on the clock. So tell us about a success or failure, if you would. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Henry, and good evening, all. Yeah, I would try to share multiple failures and successes. My childhood's main challenge was the fights between my mom and dad, which made me silent. now I'm father of two sons, trying hard to provide a better environment for them to grow. And we have been successful in doing that. However, there are always chance for improvement. In my academics, I cleared my chartered accountancy after failing 9 times. And that was the lowest moment of my life. And when I cleared my chartered accountancy, I also cleared my MBA, executive MBA in systems. Later, I was down with my morale, and also I had to pay a huge price for being silent in my employment, and also suffering from fear. Uh, and I tried to take ownership of the same, and I got an advice that if you want to improve on your public speaking skills, start speaking up. It's not about just going through the motivational videos and you will start speaking. And that's what I have started doing. I'm not close to Dave, but I have visited the clubs across the globe, Australia, uh, India. India is my home country, and US and Singapore as well. So in total, around 30. Maybe I can compete with Dave and try to go for more clubs. But overall, this support has helped me a lot. Like last 4 months, I have improved a lot. So that's, I would say, taking ownership of your own career is on you. Thanks.
That was incredible. That was a fantastic pick of topics. And in particular, as we always talk about here in our club, it's about confronting the anxiety and the fear, and to be able to go to a bunch of strangers and talk about regret, and in particular about how your parents were such an impact on you and your silence. It's the reason why I asked the question, what made us responsible and not responsible? And so, yes, we are responsible for our actions, but there are always things outside of our control, like parents who may not have nurtured us to be able to speak up, that are real reasons why we're living in some fear. So, for you to be able to share that with us, one, it's appreciated, but two, it serves for us as motivation and inspiration, and a lesson that the more vulnerable we are on camera, the more we face this fear, the more power we get from it. And, I can't imagine what failing the chartered financial examination 9 times must have felt like. But I'm pretty sure I know what when you succeeded felt like. And that's kind of the point, is the deeper the regret, the deeper the challenges, the lower the low, it makes the highs that much sweeter. So I love the story. Loved having you here. Look forward to having you come back. Sounds like we've got a number of members that know you, and so you're always welcome to come back and speak to us at any time you want.
Thanks, Henry.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to our next speaker. We've got Trey. I always love hearing from Trey. Trey, are you out there?
I'm here.
Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Doing very well. Doing very well.
I'm always excited to hear you speak. I never know what to expect, but it's always interesting and fun. So you got 2 minutes. Tell us about a success or a regret.
Okay. Condolences for losing your friend, as well as the setback for getting that IPO. I like to think about those kind of things as the price of admission for a certain lesson that you were supposed to learn. So even though you didn't make your millions right now off of this particular purchase, I do believe that things happen for a reason, and I do believe that your life might be a little bit different. To school for cool and retired with all of your money and left us all dust. But on behalf of the rest of us, we are grateful that this thing happened and that you were able to come to us with this story. In doing so, any of us may have even heard from other people's stories and gotten some type of lesson, maybe changed their life a little bit or changed their perspective on some shortcomings that might have happened in their life. So even though this might not be what you want to hear right now, I do believe that there are plenty of us out here who are gaining from this situation that's happened to you, and you can't really put a price tag on wisdom. So thank you for, I guess, your setback.
Well, Trey, you're very welcome. The fact that I lost out on that Airbnb IPO. If I can be of any service to you, maybe that's the one good thing out of this. So I appreciate that. And let me say, if I ever do make billions, I'm still coming back to New Voice Live.
You better.
And that's true too. I'm not lying. I'm not joking. I'm doing this for a reason beyond money. And you said it yourself. There are things that are way more important than money. We know that. We're all old enough here to realize that money isn't the answer to all the problems. I do think in many ways, this is one of the answers to all the problems. I do believe in sharing our regrets and our problems in public and being vulnerable. It helps us to heal. I can tell you right now, I'm feeling a lot better than I was not even an hour ago, and it's because of this. So I appreciate it, Trey. Thanks for that.
Appreciate you, Aaron.
Okay, let's move on to our next speaker. Oh, another good one. We got Rob. Rob's a longtime member as well. Rob, good to see you.
Hey, Henry. Good to see you too.
You know the drill. I'm always looking forward to your table topics as well. So tell us about a success or a regret.
Happy to. Okay, guys, take a close look. Do you see all that? Not the brown ones, the gray hairs. Those, while there might be a little bit of resilience in there, and a handful of them have come from, there she is, there's one of them, one of these little monsters. The majority of them come from little regrets. And I was thinking about regrets earlier, and when you're a kid, you have these big regrets, like, oh, why did my dad run away? Oh, I wish I would have asked that girl to prom. I wish I would have done this and that. But when you get older, like Trey said so elegantly, all of those things you realize are things that build your character or allowed you to be where you are. It's like the Steve Jobs commencement speech where he talks about connecting the dots. And so I don't have any big regrets, but I'm a worrier. And I have all these little regrets. And I just think about, oh, I wish I would have done that today. Or, oh, how did I not do that? So I worry about all these little things. And really, it's a waste of time. And for example, I'm the grammarian. And I should be worried about all the ums and ahs. But I regret to say that I gave myself a perfect score for using the word resilience. And most of you got perfect scores as well, because I was so entranced by your stories and your speeches that I had no time to worry or have regrets for any of those little ahs and ums and ands and so's and likes. Bye. Thanks.
I hear you completely about losing track of the ahs and ums as grammarian. One that's a sure sign that we are getting better and better is that when we are losing track of the ahs and ums because we're so wrapped in the story. But the other is your regret is our gain. We don't have to worry about the ahs and ums this week. So the dreaded ah and counter we get a pass on. So great speech as usual, Rob. Love to have you. Love having you here as always. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right, our last speaker for the evening is our esteemed president, Cailley. I think she's going to try to do double duty here. So
Yes,
if we have any glitches here, blame the fact that she's doing multiple tasks. So Cailley, you know the drill. You're our president, our fearless leader. 2 minutes on the clock for you, and give us a tale of success or regret.
Okay. Thank you, Henry. I actually love this topic because I have been obsessed with thinking about success and failure for probably the last, I was going to say 2 years, but probably the last decade. And this is actually sort of around the topic that I'm planning my next speech for. So I will use this as an opportunity during table topics to get a little practice in. I'm sort of fascinated by the way we define success and how narrowly we define success in our society, especially around careers. And so that any success that you have, if it's not directly feels like a success, it automatically feels like a failure. I've had so many failures in my life. I'm first and foremost a failed filmmaker. I moved to New York to become a filmmaker, and I worked in the industry for 5 or 6 years. And I can tell you, when I walked away from it, I just took that as a huge failure. That became my identity, really. And it's interesting to think back on now because I have so many stories of failures and mistakes that I made when I was coming up in the industry. I have the auspicious honor of being yelled at by some Oscar-winning directors. I have gotten on a plane with just about every cent I had and all the camera equipment I owned. And by the time I landed on that plane, the film had fallen apart, the production was in fire, and the characters had walked off the set. I've swung big and I have failed really big. And so as I look back on that now, I just have this feeling that I'm trying to redefine success and failure for myself. I have this feeling that if I hadn't painted myself in such broad strokes, if I hadn't just seen myself so fully as a failure, that I would have been able to sort of bounce back from some of those experiences a little more quickly. So I'm fascinated by success and failure and the way we define them. I have a feeling it's probably a pretty universal experience to go through a lot of mistakes when you're starting out in your career. But no one ever said that to me. No one ever sort of admitted mistakes up front or failures. And I think my desire now is to tell my failure stories so people know that when you're coming up in an industry, when you're starting out, you have a lot of mistakes ahead of you. And reframing those is sort of my obsession at this point. So thank you. I loved all these speeches and I love thinking through these things with you. It's a great space to do it. So thank you.
Cailley, fantastic table topic. Cool. And we're both in this together, so we talk about this a lot. Why are we doing this? We spend all this time trying to make this thing as cool and high tech and as anxiety ridden as possible. And I think, we've always talked about the importance of being vulnerable and telling the truth, because not enough of that kind of stuff is talked about. I always say this is that you can go on social media and you'll find an infinite number of people telling you 10 ways to be happy. You're never going to find somebody that says, here are 10 ways to be unhappy. And it's the truth out there that we just never talk about because we have to put on this mask of, look how great I am. Look how successful I am. And we're so it's so overwhelming to us now, particularly in social media, that when we hear authenticity, when we hear somebody telling the truth, we're immediately gravitated toward it. So you've always been one of the most authentic voices in our club. I think that's why we all follow you without any doubt as our president, because we know who you are. We trust you. We believe in you because you're always honest with us. So I appreciate that.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think we are, trying to build this space into a place where people can swing big and being vulnerable. My anecdote to fear and vulnerability at this point is just swing big, just go for it.
I love
I
it,
think
right?
that is the space we're in. And I think this is exactly what we've been doing this whole year, is saying we're going to swing big. We're going to have a lot of tech difficulties. We're going to have awkward moments. But Henry, you and Sean and so many of our leadership team have put so much heart and energy into doing this thing that I don't think it can fail. I really don't. I mean, I don't even, again, those binaries to me, success and failure, have kind of dissolved for me at this point. So I will never call this a failure, but I think a lot of people will see this and think it's successful. So I think that's great.
I think you're right. I believe that too. This is all about redefining success and failure. If we get up there and face our fear, success. That is the only success that's important to me. So thank you for that, Madam President. As always, great job. And I think that's going to wrap up table topics for the evening. We're going to get into our end show with our roles and our timer and grammarian, although I know that we get a pass on the grammarian role. But let's start off with...
Not everyone.
Well, we'll start off with our timer. That's going to be Jorge for the evening. So we'll see if we can get Jorge back on screen for us and give us our times for the evening. Jorge, take it away for us.
Hello everyone, again this is Jorge, and I am going to give a report on the time, how well we did this evening. On the speakers section and evaluators as well. Suggested time for the speakers, 4 minutes. First speaker, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, not too bad. Evaluator suggested time is 2 minutes. Alex, 2:05, that's great. Second speaker, Alex, 4 minutes on the dot. That's awesome. Evaluator, Devika, I lost connection during that time, but I'm sure you got a perfect 2 minutes as well. Moving on to the table topic sections. The suggested time is 2 minutes. Rajiv, 2 minutes and 20, not too bad. Myself, 2 minutes 05. Dave, 2:20. Eula, 3:05. You have something really interesting to see, so that's great. Todd, 2:30. I think this is Trey, 1 minute and 45 seconds. Bharat, 2 minutes 15. Rob, 2 minutes on the dot. That's awesome. And Cailley, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That is my report. Back to you, Henry.
Great job on that. Thank you for that, Jorge. And next we'll turn to our grammarian. And I think we've got at least a handful of Rob. So let's see if Rob can give us our grammarian count for the evening. Rob, you there?
Yeah, happy to. So I know the first few look like I fell asleep while I was doing it, but really Devika and Alex's evaluation and speech were flawless, and they used the word of the day. On Devika's evaluation, she had a few ums and a few you-knows. And then I was a little awake during the table topics, but just got really inspired by all the speeches. So it looks like I took Ambien. So everyone must have said the word of the day as well, but I didn't really hear it other than Dave. And of course, I gave myself the word of the day, whether I said it or not, and a perfect score, whether I said, so, like. So that's my report.
Great job on that grammarian report. Yeah, and like I said, that's a sure sign of progress when we are so wrapped up in the speeches that we're not really paying attention to the ahs and the ums. So I also am going to say, even though I was kind of doing double duty as table topic master, this was just a fantastic show tonight in terms of listening to the speeches and hearing people talk about the regrets and successes. Cailley's right. We didn't know what was going to happen with this going forward. And, based upon all the hard work that's been put in by all of our members and the leadership team, I think we're here to stay. So whether I make $1 billion or not, you're going to see me here on New Voice Live. With that said, I think I want to make sure that we get the guests on screen that we may have missed, if that's possible. I think we had one guest here that wasn't on screen. if I can find this guest. Is it Linda? Linda, are you there? Can you hear us? Maybe you have you on mute. Do we have you on mute?
Yes, I can hear you. Now you can hear my dog.
Well, Linda, how'd you and your dog find us?
Dave sent us the link, and I think I've heard about it. I think I heard about it, or I've seen it on YouTube before. I don't know. I think Todd sent me a YouTube of the club, and you guys are really high tech. You guys have really good computers or something. I actually like to know, where do you get your timing mechanism from? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, all of that stuff is the high tech stuff that's behind the scenes. Um, just so everyone knows, it's a program called OBS, Online Broadcast System. So if anybody wants to use that system, there's all kinds of YouTube videos out there for folks. It can be a little complicated, but that's the system that we're using.
Can you put that in the chat?
Sure, I will
I'd
absolutely.
like to try it. I know
For
my
sure.
computer's not up to date. I can't do a lot, but that's kind of cool.
That might be the one hurdle for you, is that it does require a fairly high end PC. But I'm happy to send the link to you in the chat. And as I said, you can learn anything on YouTube these days. So
That's true.
Look up OBS on YouTube, and you'll find all that information
That's true. Yep, and I do believe in like what Todd said. Hey, everything's a learning experience as it is. I'm VP of PR right now for 5 clubs, and one of them is Australia.
Wow.
Out of my area.
That's a lot of clubs to be public relations for.
Yeah, it is, but it's my thing, and I do that for a living.
Well, that sounds amazing. We're glad to have you here. We'd love to have you back again. You're welcome anytime. And for those of you who have invited guests, thanks once again for our members for spreading the word. I always say as well,
Thank you for accepting me.
Glad to have you. I always say it's the strangers that make this club. We can get to a place where we're talking to ourselves, and that's all fine, well and good. But it's when we have to talk to strangers when the real fear comes out. So I appreciate you coming and talking to us strangers. Okay, with that being said, as I said, this is going to wrap up our second to last show before the new year. Next week is our holiday episode. And then we're going to take a couple weeks off for a break and then see you guys all in January. But be sure to come in next week for our holiday special. Invite more friends, invite more guests. We love having them here. It's been a great show. One last reminder, check out our YouTube channel. Go like and subscribe. Do all those things that we now have to ask our audience to do. And one more reminder, that's really going to be the power of it too. If you get to a place where you're looking in the mirror, watching yourself on YouTube and not feeling any regret, you've succeeded. That's the hardest part of all, is looking at ourselves in the mirror and feeling like a success. So